What's up, Shelf Addicts? Welcome back to the Shelf Addiction Podcast. Today on Book Chat, we are concluding our end-of-year wrap-ups with our thriller and mystery buddy read titles. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, I'm your host, Tamara, and welcome back to the podcast. If you're new here, we feed your shelf addiction with fun book conversations, bookish topics, and more. It's like listening in on your favorite book club. Participate in this discussion by joining the Facebook group Shelf Addiction Official or on the Book Club's app. I hope to hear your thoughts on today's show. You can always find me and Classy on Twitter and Instagram. The links for everything I've mentioned are below in the show notes. If you enjoyed today's episode, please support this podcast by sharing it with some book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe before you leave. That will really help me out, and I appreciate you for doing so. The uncut video version of this podcast is available now on Patreon. Join us there for exclusive videos, including after shows, special episodes, and more. So if you're interested in that at all, you'll need to come on over to Patreon and sign up. As always with Book Chats, we talk spoilers here, so you've been warned. Without further ado, let's begin. Today we are going to do the best and worst of 2022 Buddy Reads. Joining me is the Buddy Read feature co-host Classy Green from the Bookish Virtual Assistant. Welcome back, Classy.
Hello, Tamara. Hello, everybody.
Hey. So it's the end of the year, so it's that time. We're going to do the thing.
Can't believe 2022 is like coming to a close.
I know. This year was like so fast. It just sped by. And yeah.
Here we are.
Here we are. All right. So before we get going, I want to take a moment to welcome a new Patreon member. So welcome to Samaniqua. Thanks so much for joining and appreciate you for being here and being a certified book addict. I appreciate you.
Welcome, Samaniqua.
All right.
Yes.
Even though I apologize, I think I said it wrong. I tried. I practiced. Please forgive me. Charge it to my brain, not my heart.
Yes.
All right. So where should we begin? Should we start with the best? Should we give a best shout out first?
No, let's do a build up. I'm feeling a build up here.
Okay, so we're gonna
let's reverse it.
Okay, we're gonna start with our worst reads of the year. I think I have a couple. Do you have a couple in that category, or do you just have one?
One. Okay, I'm sorry. Did I say it like that?
You did.
Come on now. This was not like, I have more than one. This was a fair to midly reading year, as the old folks say. Fair to midly.
I know. It was like, meh. It was an okay year, but I feel like 2021 was a really good reading year. And this was overall a big disappointment compared to last year.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I have a and the thing is that some of the books that I picked crossed over. I don't know if yours did too. And I was just like, ooh, which one do I put in? So I won't say like they crossed over yet, but they crossed over.
Well, I have one book that falls in two of our categories.
Okay.
Because it's just the fact. So it gets a double whammy, unfortunately.
I can't wait to see.
I bet it's the same book. I have a feeling.
Oh, gosh. Okay. So where are we starting?
Yes, let's do it. Our worst read of 2022. Classy, you begin.
I'm going to go with, for me, The Children on the Hill by Jennifer McMahon.
Okay.
Yeah, that one was a tough one for me because it was just so much in the book, and some of it, and granted, I mean, it's sci-fi. I thought it was labeled genre bending or genre defying or something.
Yes.
And I was like, I call bullshit on this, because at first it was supposed to be horror, sci-fi. There were some pieces that were just kind of over the top. And we did it for October, so we were trying something different, horror. But there were just a few
for horror spin.
Yeah, and it was just, and I tried and I tried, and after talking with you, I was like, "Oh, maybe," and then after I sat with it a little bit, I still wind up at that 2 for me because just something wasn't resonating with me with that book,
Okay.
and yeah, it
I
just
get it. It was
yeah,
a difficult book, to be honest. It took a long time for me to get into the vibe of it. And
mhm,
once I did like it, but not to the point where I feel like I want to run out and grab more material by Jennifer McMahon. I don't feel like that. I feel I can see exactly why this rated low for you. I'll just say that.
yeah,
I
yeah,
get it.
and I think I read Winter People by her,
Mhm.
and like I said, when I started, like, getting back into my reading again, I was like, "Oh, okay, I could kinda see." And, as you get older and as you read more things, your style and the things that you begin to pick up on that really, because like, when you start reading at the beginning, it's like, "Oh, this is nice. Everything's beautiful, rainbows and
Yes.
unicorns, and this is just fun." And then the more you read and the more you start understanding prose and techniques and all that, you're just like, "Nah,
Yeah.
mm-mm." And I think this is kinda what happened with me and Jennifer.
Yeah, definitely. I
Mm,
could see that,
yeah,
and what you might have liked, a couple of years ago does not mean that's what you would like now. I mean, just from, like you said, reading so many books and just getting a good variety of books, and the more you read, the more your tastes change, and I get it, yeah.
mhm, yeah, yep,
All right, so for me, my worst read of the year was Things We Do in the Dark by Jennifer Hillier. Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
really had high hopes, and I was really thrown by the fact that the ratings for this were so high. I feel like, was I reading the same book as these people who have rated it? I don't know.
yeah, but I think yeah, I felt the same way because I was like, "Okay, are these just those super fans?" Which, I mean, like I said, I'm a super fan, and there are some books that I have that they can't do no wrong. I mean, they can, but they can't. But then you think, how many people got the arc? How
Mhm,
many people got
mhm,
the NetGalley, the Idlewise, jumped on it immediately and was just like,
right.
"We love this." But
It's
yeah,
great. And
no,
I mean, the story itself wasn't bad. We went back and forth in 25 years earlier and now, and I think it was 25 years ish or something like that. And,
it was a
you
big
know,
timeline.
yeah, through name changes and, it just, I think I really have a big hang up when people mislabel books. Don't tell me that something is a thriller and it's not. Like, I don't think this book was a thriller.
I think that is something that we kinda pinpoint too, that no,
Mhm,
no, this is not a thriller. I'm not even sure what we
mm-mm.
thought it was.
I think I said maybe a domestic drama or something. I don't know.
Exactly, because it wasn't a well,
N
it was kind of,
But all the little mystery
yeah,
components were easy to guess as
yeah,
well.
they were, and, and some of the techniques they used were not done well, because
Mhm.
everybody's jumping on the podcast, bandwagon.
Yeah, and it's not always done right, especially when it's just in passing. "Oh, yeah, I do a podcast."
Yeah.
Just
Like the
for
book I
the
just picked for the worst, she did a great job with podcasting.
Mhm.
She had the equipment, she had, everything that, like, if you're a podcaster, you resonated with what she was talking about.
Right.
This, it was just kinda like, "Oh, yeah, I'm a podcaster." But it's like, "Okay, so when are we gonna hear about your podcast? When are you gonna talk about this podcast?" Like, I think all it was mentioned was he was a podcaster and he was interviewing somebody. I think that was the gist of
Yeah.
it.
It was used as a plot device so that he would have an excuse to interview her mother.
Yeah, and it was poorly done.
Yeah, and he never actually interviewed the woman. I mean, he met her one time, and he was very judgmental when he went in there. It wasn't really for the podcast at that point, but that's a whole no.
Whole 'nother
Let's not. Right, we're gonna do we wanna go back into that? No, we don't.
No, because that's why it's on the worst list.
Yes.
That's why it's there on her list. Yeah, so, whew.
Yeah, so that was my 2-star, and actually, surprisingly, I did not have, like, a bunch of 2 stars. I think I had more 3 stars than anything
Mhm.
this year, so
Okay. Yeah, it was. I can't remember what I rated it. It might have been a 2 or a 3, but yeah, she was pretty low on my list.
mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah.
Okay, so do you have another worst you'd like to share?
What was my other
Oh, I
worst?
do have one more worst that's a 2-star. Oh, I almost forgot.
Oh,
Oh my god.
yep, I do.
And I bet it's the same one.
The Replacement Wife
Yes, yep.
by Darby Kane.
Yeah. And I have to say, we really enjoyed the first book we read by her. So I was disappointed and I'm scared. I'm scared because
We're
before
taking a
you,
chance.
we're taking another chance on her very early in the year next year.
Mhm.
So promise you, if this is another strike, I'm done with her. If this third book is a strikeout, I'm done. So we'll see. Anyway, class, you let us share why you did not
And
like
we
it.
tried her because you know what? Let's just go there with trying people again because we tried Mr. Riley Sager, what, 2 or
Hmm.
3 times?
Yeah, too
Yeah, so
many.
yeah, so we were like, "Okay, let's try Darby." We gave the guy a chance, but anyway, but yeah, this is a very, it was the worst for me, and I made notes for this one. I looked at some of my notes. Okay, I'm just gonna do a shameless plug from my, journal.
Okay.
Yes, let's do a shameless plug. Um, some of the worst things about this book for me, there was a lot of repetition, which I think she tried to use in a way of unreliable character who, suffer with anxiety and panic attacks, but it just became too taxing for me.
Hmm.
She brought in too many freaking secondary characters that served no purpose.
Yes.
And the ending felt really rushed. And I know it was some other things, but those are some of the glaring things that I remember. And like I said, her first book blew us out the box. We were just like,
Yes.
"Yes, ma'am."
We were singing that book's praises all year long.
Yeah, so we was like, "Okay, Darby, we see
Hmm.
you. Let's try it again." And then it was like, "Womp womp." And we tried. I think we
Yeah.
kind of texted each other like, mm,
Like,
"Are you
honestly, the
feeling
relation
anything?"
nothing. Because
Yeah,
honestly, the relationship this main character had with her brother-in-law was very weird.
extremely.
It was very strange.
Yeah, because
And
at one point I was like, "Are they having an affair? Are they is she the" yeah, it was like she was at the house cleaning up for him,
mhm.
and I was like, "Mm-mm, I don't know what kind of Stepford wife shit this is, but"
I know, and her husband, I mean, like, the characters, I just could not feel any sympathy or empathy, neither one towards any of those characters. I'm like, "This is outrageous," like, and not in a good way.
yeah, I'm like, "Y'all weird,
Yeah, it's weird.
very weird."
So, yeah, I'm with you there.
Even, like, too weird for a book weird. It's like,
Yeah.
mm, okay.
It just didn't hit, but I think that was another one that well, the ratings aren't as high, and a lot of I was surprised that being that her first book was so popular, The Replacement Wife, maybe people heard that it wasn't that good because there's not even 12,000 ratings on that mug, which shocks me.
Yeah, I think so. Because like, some of the people that when you go into Goodreads and you like a book or read it, you see what your other friends are saying, and a lot of people were like, "This is a big disappointment after, um, The Perfect Wife?" Is that what it
Pretty
was?
Little Wife, was
Pretty
it?
Little Wife, okay.
Yeah.
It was a wife thing.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, this was, sophomore
Y
flop, a
yeah,
sophomore flop.
definitely. We'll see if she
Yeah.
can rebound with book 3.
Come on,
So
Miss Kane.
I know, let's do it. Come on, we got
Yes.
faith in you.
Yes.
All right, should we flip the script and look at our best reads of the year?
Yeah, let's go ahead. We'll
Okay,
flip
let's
it.
flip the script and then
Okay.
we'll after that we'll take a break and then we'll come back to more disappointments. Okay, so I guess okay, so I must say I had no 5-star reads this year in the buddy read list. None.
Neither did I.
So I couldn't even just say, "Oh, easily this book," because it was the only 5. I had none. So I had to look at my 4 stars and try to figure out which one I enjoyed more.
Yeah.
So it was hard, I'm not even gonna lie. I think, they're almost tied, but I'm going to say Ace of Spades by Farida Abike Iyemide. Lord, y'all know me in names. Good God, I'm
I
sorry.
think you did good with this one.
Okay. So I thought that was very interesting to me. I know it's academia, dark academia story, that type of thing with a twist of social realism and that kind of stuff going on, but I just really enjoyed it. We even broke down like some of the artwork. We like really got into that book. So, and I listened to some of the music behind
Right.
that. So I
Yeah.
just remember all the vibes that I was getting from that. So I think that was my favorite of the year.
Okay. Did you have oh, I think did you have more than one, or are you gonna let me go?
You can go, and then I have another one that I think was pretty much tied with that.
Tied with that one.
Mhm.
Okay, so my favorite would be, Razor B Razor Blade Tears
Mhm.
by S.A. Cosby. Um, it was, again, another fast-paced S.A. Cosby book. That dynamic between the 2 fathers and the secret at the end, and, how he brought in, it was 2 fathers whose, gay sons were married and were murdered, and um, it, I just love the dynamic of it. The dynamic of these 2 fathers trying to find the killers of their son, along with trying to get away from the killers as they, navigate this story, and then learning about themselves as men and their regrets. Of not loving their kids
Sons,
for who
yeah.
they were. And SA got really deep into male toxicity, and um, yeah, it was just layers to that story. So that was
He had
one of
some
my favorite.
learning moments in there.
Yeah, he did. He did. He brought it
Mhm.
in, and he didn't make it mushy mushy. He
Mhm.
still tried to make it like, I'm still tough, tough. Like that man. You know how men like, I'm tough. I don't want to cry. But he still broke it down. So yeah, that was.
The main father, the black father, all I could think is he is like the black version of Liam Neeson in those movies. Like he all this dirt going around kicking people's butts. I'm like,
What was that? Liam Neeson was at Taken?
yes, the taking
Y
stuff. I'm like, get out of
Yes.
here. You ain't doing all that, but okay.
I know, I know. But, he was a criminal, right? Yeah, he
Yeah,
was
he
like,
was a
yeah, he
criminal.
he was a criminal. But, yeah, so that was one of my favorites, and that was my 2nd time reading it, with you, and I had begun to even see more, little things that I had missed the first time.
Okay.
Um so yeah, that was my fave.
That was a good one. That was on my 4-star list, but yeah, it was a good one. I agree. Good pick. So my next one, which was unexpected. I did not think I would like this one, but I did. The Overnight Guest by Heather Gudenkoff. I really liked that book.
Yeah, that was mine too.
Was it?
It was something about that snowstorm. It was something
Mhm.
about, I don't know, it was I liked the setting, I liked the way the build up, the time, she did some time jumping in there
Mhm.
too. She got me with a few, twists that I didn't catch. Um, try
Figuring out that Wiley was the child.
Yeah,
Like,
it was.
oh my god.
Yes, and you and I didn't do this book together.
No.
I was on high. I was on hiatus
Yeah.
during that time, but I enjoy reading that book. That was one of my 4-star books too. I was just like, because at one point I was just like, I felt like I was like this, like, come on,
Yeah.
especially with the little boy girl, in
Yes.
the snowstorm, and I was yelling at the book like, why the fuck did you leave homeboy in the barn? It's freezing, those kind of things. And when you're talking back to the book,
Yeah, that
that's like
says a
talking back
lot.
to the TV. Yeah. So yeah, that was one of my best ones too this year.
I just also love that the little child became the hero. Like the child is the hero.
I know we really do like little kick ass heroes, don't we?
Yes, we do. We really do.
Yeah.
So that was your second one, huh?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, it was. It was my second one. So we got 2 that we matched up on so far.
Yeah, yes, I love when that happens. All
Yeah.
right, so let's take a quick break, you guys. Let's check out these commercials. By listening to those, you are supporting the podcast. And don't forget, you can hop on over and get the book review journal that Classy was mentioning earlier. It's available right now on Amazon. It's gorgeous. And you can get it in only 2 days on Amazon Prime. But so yeah, check those out. We'll be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the Bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite Bookish item. Okay, welcome back, everyone. We are going to continue our best and worst of 2022 with a couple of, special appearances. So the first one is, let's start with the negative again. Our biggest disappointment of the year.
Okay.
I feel like we already started on this one, but
The Replacement Wife.
Yeah.
Again, because just had so many high hopes for Darby. Again, like we said, we had read Pretty Little Wife and was just looking forward to another, just that twist of what is she going to do next. And I think like with Pretty Little Wife, this wife was a kick-ass wife who wasn't taking any shit. And I think with the Replacement
Right.
Wife, we were just like, how did she go from Pretty Little Wife, who was always one step ahead of everybody else, to this
Yes.
mousy broad? Okay, I'm sorry, I said it. Yes, I said it. But
Yes.
she was mousy. And I was just like,
Because my pretty little wife was so bold. It was so bold in the actions of the main character. Like the very first chapter, she's
yeah,
like, "Yeah, I killed my husband." So,
yeah.
like,
Yeah, and not only that, like at first, like when I think even when we flip back into the story, she was also kind of like the trophy wife, but she
Mhm.
presented herself like that because she needed to. But in the meantime, she's
Yes.
like, I already know what your brother and you are doing.
Yes.
So I'll play this game, but
Mhm.
I'm already one step, make that 2, maybe even 3 steps ahead of you guys. So yeah, so that's
Mhm.
why, yeah, it was a big disappointment because, man, in case you guys didn't know, go check out Pretty Little
Yeah,
Wife by
I
Darby King.
we recommend
Yeah.
5-star read. We recommend
Mhm.
and check out that podcast too. We had a
Yes.
really fun time talking about
Yeah.
that book.
Yeah.
If you listen to both of those podcasts back to back, you're going to be like, "Whoa."
Is this the same author? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I get it. I get that they try and switch things up, but it's just like, And it felt
Yes.
rushed. It really did. It felt rushed at points too. So
Absolutely. It was rushed. So I want to say, if I had to put like another one in second place on that, it wasn't a 2-star. I would actually pass over Things We Do in the Dark to say The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. I rated that 3 stars, but that was a pretty disappointing book to me.
yeah, it was. It was And I can't remember why I gave it a 3 now that we talk about it.
Yeah, when I think back, all I think back to is, "Ew, that wasn't good." So, something about it made me give it a 3 at the time, but it's beyond me now, I have no clue.
Yeah, that says a lot when you can't remember anything about the book. You're just like,
I
Yeah, this was a Reese Witherspoon book club book of the month, whatever.
Mhm.
Um, trying to think. Yeah, I
I
can't.
just remember the daughter was, like, so annoying, the daughter in high school,
Mhm.
and the stepmother is trying to help her, trying to protect her, and she off like, "Screw what you talking about, Imma do what I want." I'm like, "You brat."
Yeah,
We
but that's a brat who doesn't like her
Oh
stepmother.
my
Yeah,
god.
she did that well. But I
Yeah,
think the things with the father and the secrets and them going back,
the
trying to
secret.
figure out, yeah, it was, yeah.
And the motivations for the main character were very weak because, like, why are you doing this? Like,
Mm,
why? And some
and
of the
not
the choices she makes as well. Like, I remember us having a whole long conversation about why she handled the money, the cash in the manner that she did versus sending
yeah,
her friend for the money. Like, this character makes some dumb choices, in my opinion.
because didn't she hide it under the sink or
She hid
something?
it, yeah, and then I think she told
The
the
officer or the
officer,
detective.
yeah, because he
And I'm
said,
like,
"Oh, if you get this money, you can go into, protectives,
witness protection.
witness protection with this money, but if you don't tell us," he, like, kinda threatened her about it, and then she just gives it up.
And the thing was is that at that point, I don't even think she knew if he really was a detective or a FBI or whatever, and that's what I was struggling with, like, you haven't even confirmed
Mm-mm.
if he is who he is, and you up there telling, and I'm thinking to myself, if I'm in that kinda situation, I'm only trusting my best friend and maybe one of those type of people, but somebody I don't even know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, she did make some questionable decisions. Um, and then I struggled too, like with the husband and his choices. And I mean, granted, once we got to the end of the story, it's still kind of like, but dude, in the middle of the day, you just
You
at
just go
at
walk
school, you
in.
just
Right.
didn't tell me shit.
I know. I
So
mean,
you told this little
honestly,
girl who don't like me. Wait, wait, wait. You told this little
right.
girl that doesn't like me about some money, blah blah blah, and now we're supposed to forge this relationship. You know,
See, I feel like if it were we just needed some more things added to make it more believable, make me buy this story.
mhm,
It's fiction, obviously, but make me buy it. Like,
yeah,
maybe if the husband had confessed to something and then
yeah. I
making
think,
her want to protect the girl, right?
yeah. Besides her just possibly going to be her stepdaughter. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
And I knew, like, I did feel like her husband knew that she loved her stepdaughter and would do anything for her. I did. I did believe. And she was trying to forge a relationship with her. But the dad, like you were saying, his choices and just like, dropping the bag off with the daughter and giving her all the info.
Like, what?
Why is she right? Yeah. What if she didn't tell stepmom?
I know.
Yeah.
What a mess. The whole story just didn't
Jive.
click. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There's some things just it wasn't the math wasn't mathing. It wasn't connect. There was some yeah, and then, like, their adventure in the church, her
Mhm.
trying to remember as a kid of a wedding. It was awesome. Yeah.
It was all
Why did
murky.
we give it a 3
I know.
now?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and listen to that podcast to figure out what we actually liked about it.
Mhm. Oh, yeah,
Wah, wah.
yeah. I'm not even don't you dare go back.
No,
Don't
I'm
waste
not.
I was
I'm
just saying,
done.
okay,
I
you do
am
not you
done.
can't get that time back. No.
I know. It's gone.
Yeah.
All right. So what about the biggest surprise. Did we have any huge surprises in our reading this year? I
Yes,
think we did.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
The arrangement. Yes,
The arrangement,
arrangement.
yes. The
Yes, the
amendment.
arrangement, atonement,
Yes, there we go.
Kirsten Moglen.
All 3.
I know.
That was a big surprise.
Man,
And the funny
very.
thing is, those are fun, fast-moving, interesting to talk about books, but they still didn't get 5 stars. They got 4.
No. No, because I mean, she was over the top, and, she had some issues because some of the stuff was just like, "Really?" But I was here for it. I was
Yeah,
just
it
yeah,
was
but it
fun.
was a total surprise. This was an unknown author to us, indie author. Um, I think the ratings were high. I can't remember, but it was just one of those things like when we were picking books for the quarter, and I was like, "I've heard about this one. Let's try it."
Mhm.
And you're like, "Okay, let's try it." And who would have thought? Because we didn't realize when we decided to pick this book that it was in a series. Not at all.
No.
I had no idea. And then when we got to the end, we're just like, I
What?
want to read the second one.
I know, I gotta know what happens.
I was like, I don't
So
know about you, but I'm going to read the second one.
exactly. So that
Yes.
is how both of the final books, The Amendment and The Atonement, got picked up for December. So we squashed our December plan to finish this little trilogy out, and it was worth it. Worth
It
it.
was, man, because it was a novella. And like we were saying, even 2 of the books would have been the time of a whole book, or all 3, it would have been just a big ass book. But it was so paced that we were just like, oh, we can knock this out in an instant. And then
Yeah.
when we got over to book clubs, that sealed the deal when we got to book clubs.
Everybody wanted to continue. And actually,
Yeah.
one person in the group had already started the next book. It's
Yes.
like, oh,
And what's cool about like not letting us know any spoilers, she was just like, uh-huh, yeah. And she never said that she had started it. And then
nope.
I don't know what it was that she said. And we were like, you started the book. And she's like,
Yeah, she did a good job of not
yeah.
really showing her cards.
Yes,
But
yes. It was fun. It was a wild ride. I don't know. I recommend it. Like was texting my friends, and I'm like, if you need in your year with something just fun, you know, wild ride, do this. This is
yeah.
binge worthy. This is like you binge watch a Netflix series.
Mhm.
This right here is
It's
binge worthy.
absolutely. It's kind of like a nice little treat, right? Like you're not it's really easy to consume, very easy.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, so fun.
Yeah, to the point where, because it was one of those books that, because how some books you'll put down and you'll be like, oh, I'll get back to it. I'll get back to
Mhm.
it. One of these is like, no, I need to know. Like if I was in the car or I had to go run errands, I could not wait to put it on in the car. When I was cooking, when I was cleaning, walking anytime I was trying to finish this because I wanted to know what happened next.
Mhm.
And I know we had discussed and you were like, "Oh, this could have been, maybe one big book." But after we chatted about it, it couldn't have been because the way Kirsten writes these books, I won't call her the queen of cliffhangers because I haven't read like a whole bunch of other people in cliffhangers, but she does a fantastic job of cliffhangers. And I don't think if it was one full book that it would have had the same dynamic because, you'd have just moved on to the next chapter.
Right.
But with her books, it's like you have to let it settle in what you just read.
Yes. Like the main character Ainsley, like I think about did you ever watch that show Revenge on ABC?
Loved Revenge.
That's
Loved
how I
it.
think of Ainsley. Like if I ever needed revenge on somebody because she can think so many steps ahead,
Yeah.
there's like no way you cannot best her.
Mm-mm. Yeah, and just when you think you know something, you
Mhm.
just like, God dang it, I didn't see that one.
Like, when she had time to do that? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Kirsten has some stuff up her sleeve, man.
Yes.
Yeah, and I've looked at some of her other books, like, I'm like, "Ooh, what should I try next?" Hmm. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I've looked
Yeah.
at a few of them.
All right. Well, let me know what you go for next. I might check it
I think
out.
I'm going for The Mother-in-Law, but I'm not positive.
The Mother-in-Law.
Yeah. I've seen some mixed reviews. Some people are like, "Yeah, this wasn't for me," but I think these are the kinda same people that were like, didn't like the amendment either. It was
Ah,
just too much. So, um, but yeah, that was a pleasant surprise for the end of the year.
mhm.
Like, yeah,
We needed that because, like we said, this wasn't the best reading year ever. So it was a pleasant, happy surprise to get something that's energized us at the end there.
yeah,
Mhm.
yes.
So, I guess I kinda do wanna mention one more book. It didn't necessarily fall under, like, the surprise in the way that Kirsten Moglen's books did, but I was surprised how, and this only got a 3-star rating. So, but it surprised me that I actually got such a good conversation out of this. When I looked at the cover art, I did judge a book by the cover art. I looked at this cover art and I'm like, there is no way I'm gonna like this book. It looks boring. We Begin at the End by Chris Whitaker.
Yeah, it was. It was very blah,
It
like yellow and something,
yeah,
and
it was like
yeah,
fields, but when you got into it, again, we have a very strong young character in this book.
yeah.
Acting wild, doing the most.
I'm a I'm a outlaw.
Exactly, and I feel
Yeah,
like we had such a good conversation about that book. I almost
yeah,
should label this, like, the best conversation. I don't know. I feel like we got a really good conversation out of
yeah,
this book,
yeah,
and I enjoyed it, even though I stand by the 3-star rating. It wasn't,
yeah.
something I would normally pick up.
I think this is one of those books too where we were talking about the label of, genre. I
Mhm,
think it was kinda one of those ones where the genre was not right, because I think it
mhm.
may have been more true crime
Yeah,
versus,
definitely crime.
yeah, but it was. And many of our 3 stars were good conversation pieces because, um, the relationship of, the characters, and he did a lot of, his character development
Mhm.
was awesome, that I will say, but it was just, I think it was just something like, it wasn't what I was expecting, but it was a slow burn.
It was a slow burn, and it's like it took a lot to get to those nuggets, but those nuggets were so funny, so
Yeah,
fun. I'm like, "Oh my god."
yeah. When we got
Uh,
to it, it's just like, "Ooh,
yeah.
okay."
So I guess
Yeah,
that's kind of an honorable mention in that category. But again, I am in no rush, absolutely no rush to read anything else by Chris Whitaker.
mm-mm.
I feel like that was a one and done. Thank you. Moving on.
Yeah, yeah, but I did like the again, another little girl who, um, bucked the system, basically.
Mhm.
She totally bucked the system. Yeah, she was a little brat too.
I know, and she did make some questionable decisions as well, but blame that because she's a child. She's a
Mhm.
child.
Yeah, yeah,
And
and
children
she
don't
was
always
trying to
think.
no, and she was trying to protect herself, and I mean, she lived a rough life.
Yeah,
Yeah, so she was trying to do what she thought was best, and she did some harm.
she did.
She did some harm on her way. Yeah,
She did. She did some harm to her little brother. She
yeah,
tried, but
and what, to another character, one of her foster parents, remember? She blamed him for,
yes, she
yeah,
did. She said her foster parent did something that he did not do.
yeah,
She was really evil to her granddaddy.
yeah.
She was really mean to the boy next door. The little boy that liked her. She was just a mean person, but
But she had a tough exterior. I mean,
yeah.
she was basically the mother to her mother.
Mhm.
Here you have what, she was like 10 or 11, no more than 12, if that, mothering was the mother addict?
She was
Or
definitely, I don't know, she had a problem. I don't remember
yeah,
what it was, but I know she liked men who were a little
abused her,
abusive and stuff. So,
and she couldn't keep a steady job, and there were
mm-hmm.
times where they weren't fed. But there was yeah, so she was a mother to her mother and to her little brother. So, but yeah, that was a great honorable mention. I like
Yeah.
that. Mark
Yeah.
that down. Mark that down for next year, ma'am.
Okay, I will.
Add that to the list.
Yes, I will. Do you have
Yeah.
any others you want to talk about before we?
I think that was probably it.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked Ace of Spades as well, but yeah, other than that, like you said, this was a meh. But some of our best conversations were our 3-star books.
Yeah.
Not some of the best. I mean, we had those 4s, but the 3s, even though we go with 3 we wouldn't recommend, our conversations about the book were wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So, oh, good stuff. So, you guys, let us know if you've been reading with us this year or you've read some of the books that we've read this year on the Buddy Reads feature. Let us know what were your best and worst, your biggest disappointments, your greatest surprise, and like anything else that you feel like you want to share. You can find us in Shelf Addiction Official and on the Book Clubs app and on social media. You got the links below. But before we go, we do want to just let you know that we're going to kick off 2023 with the book we were going to read in December. So we
Yeah.
are going to read and I'm kind of scared again. I'm scared again because we read Samantha Downing before and absolutely enjoyed her.
Yeah.
So we are
It's
going
been
to
a while
read,
too.
it's been a while. Maybe that was a 2019 book.
Yeah, but you've read something of hers, right, in between, or no?
No, yeah, I did actually. Now that I think about it, and it wasn't as good as the first one.
Yeah, and I think and I brought that up because I know when we were moving to this, that was part of your decision, like, I'm kinda weary because that one I read and I didn't even read it because of
Mm-hmm.
your reaction or your rating, because 'cause I'm like, you and I we're pretty even keel when it comes to every once in a while, there's something that we don't, line up with, so
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
So we'll see, but we're gonna start with For Your Own Good. It's another academia type environment.
Mm.
So let's see what it says. I think it's about a professor or something. Yeah, a teacher. He won Teacher of the Year. Uh, uh, uh. The death of a school parent. Dun dun dun.
Mm.
Oh my gosh, it's really too bad that sometimes excellence can come at such a high cost. Okay. Sound like a crazy teacher, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Okay, excellent. High cost, dead parent.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So here's the hope in 2023. It's a good reading year.
Come on, book gods.
I know. Give us all the good luck with picking these books for next year.
Yeah,
All right. I think we're done. What do you think, Classy?
I think we are. We talked about some good ones today.
Yes, we did. Okay. It's been a blast, you guys. Hope you guys had a wonderful holiday. Happy New Year. And we'll see you in 2023. Take care of yourselves. Bye, guys. If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review, or like this episode on your favorite podcast player. It seems so simple, but it really helps me out. You can share this podcast with other book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. You can also join the Shelf Addiction Patreon family. For as little as $2 a month, you will help us produce even more awesome content for your ears. You can also consider joining the Shelf Addiction Official Facebook group, where we talk all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction Podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven Network. You can also reach us via email at info@shelfaddiction.com. Thank you for listening.